Education Minister Simon Birmingham has warned universities it would be a disgrace if they cut places for regional students in response to $2.2 billion in budget cuts announced by the Turnbull government. Senator Birmingham suggested universities should instead trim their profligate advertising programs to absorb the two-year freeze on Commonwealth funding contained in Monday's mid-year budget update. Unlike the government's previous attempts to moderate education costs, the funding freeze does not require legislation and cannot be blocked by the Senate. From 2020, growth in university funding will be based on performance, with Senator Birmingham eyeing higher completion rates, student satisfaction ratings and job outcomes as the key criteria. Funding growth will also be capped at the growth rate of the working-age population, in a bid to unwind the Gillard government's demand-driven system that ushered in a student enrollment boom. The end of that boom was an opportunity to ask universities to really focus on the quality of delivery, Senator Birmingham said, and to repair the budget with a modest contribution from the tertiary sector. In addition, students will have to start repaying their loans once they earn $45,000 a year, instead of $52,000. There will also be a lifetime limit on government assistance of $104,440 for most students, and $150,000 for medicine, dentistry and veterinary science students. However, those measures require Senate approval, with Labour understood to be reluctant. Universities rubbished the freeze on Monday, arguing they will struggle to keep pace with inflation and that regional campuses will abandon growth plans. Newly built infrastructure would go to waste, said Regional Universities Network Chairman Greg Hill. Education policy expert Andrew Norton, of the Grattan Institute, said it was unlikely universities would slash existing places, but they would be less inclined to expand expensive courses in health, engineering and science. This is going to break the dynamism of the system, he said. The ability to adapt as the world changes will be lost by this. They'll have less incentive and less capacity to compete in the market. However, Mr. Norton supported lowering the HECS repayment threshold, arguing the current loan scheme is just costing too much. Senator Birmingham said the plan would stop universities effectively writing their own check, and would put the higher education system on a more sustainable, responsible path. He told Fairfax Media universities should reconsider their extensive advertising, sponsorship and other brand-building efforts that have cost a reported $1.7 billion over 7 years. I think it would be a disgrace if universities sought to target students of disadvantage for any consequences from these decisions when they ought to be able to find the savings within their own administrative budget, Senator Birmingham said. He noted universities retain absolute discretion about who they enroll, and the government had preserved every single dollar of equity and disadvantage funding, including the Higher Education Participation and Partnerships Program. Altogether, the new measures cut $600 million less over 4 years than what was proposed in the May budget.